Hey, let's get into it. When I was a kid, I had a knife collection, but they were all extremely dull. And a dull knife can still look like a knife and has the same handle and same shape. It, sits in the same drawer, but when you try and use it, that's when you notice the problem. It doesn't cut cleanly, and more tears, and you have to press harder, and it slips more easily. And a dull knife is way more dangerous. And um, something that's meant to be useful it can be really unsafe. So then a knife needs to be sharpened in order to be effective. But sharpening isn't a soft process. Um, you don't sharpen a knife with cloth. Metal needs to meet metal, where there needs to be pressure, there needs to be friction, there needs to be resistance. And that process, that difficult, hard process, can restore an edge. Proverbs uses that kind of image to describe friendship. And it's a very famous proverb. Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. Um, Proverbs, remember, it's this giving of wisdom for life in the real world with God, the way that He designed it. It's not only concerned with what we believe in our heads, it's concerned with how we actually practically live, how we speak, how we decide, how we respond under pressure, and how we become the kind of people that God has called us to be. Now, here Proverbs tells us that people are part of how God forms us. We talked earlier about influence, and here he's talking about how one person in your life can sharpen another person, can sharpen you. And that word picture here, it's about sharpening not as comfort. It's not only encouragement. It's not about having people who always make your life easier. A good friend, it does include comfort. It can include laughter and loyalty and kindness, but according to Proverbs, friendship here can also sharpen us. Um, and a sharpening friend helps restore the edge. They help you see what you're missing. They call out courage when maybe naturally we want to shrink back. They ask better questions when we're drifting. They're not complacent in allowing us sort of just become dull. And they remind us of what's true when maybe our emotions are speaking a little too loud. They don't just tell us what we want to hear, they help us move towards wisdom. This doesn't mean that friendship should feel harsh. Uh, some people use iron sharpens irons maybe as an excuse to be blunt and critical and constantly corrective, and that's not necessarily wisdom. A person who's always cutting others down isn't sharpening, they're just maybe damaging. Biblical sharpening isn't about winning arguments or proving superiority. It's love working for another person's good. Sometimes that can happen through correction. Sometimes it happens through encouragement. Sometimes it's just through a steady presence. Sometimes um, maybe it's just through a question that lingers. Are you avoiding something? Have you prayed about that? Do you think that's wise? What would faithfulness look like right now? And those questions, they can create friction in our life. Maybe they don't sit well. Maybe it's what we need to hear, but we don't want to hear. And that pressure kind of creates this dissonance inside of us. But not all friction is bad. In the hands of wisdom, friction can become foundational, it can sharpen us. And God uses other people in our lives to smooth the things that are rough, to strengthen maybe things that are weak, to restore um, things that have grown dull. Uh, in order to do that, though, it means that we need humility because none of us stay sharp on our own. We all have places where we lose focus. Maybe we get tired or defensive. We settle into habits. Maybe we just start making excuses. And one of God's kindnesses is placing people near us who can help us they can help us see clearly again. So think about the friendships that are closest to you. Are those friendships sharpening you? Do you have that kind of trust, that kind of relationship? Do you have those kind of questions? Are they helping you become more honest, more patient, courageous? Um, And just as importantly, are you becoming that kind of friend for someone else? Not someone who's constantly correcting, needing to point things out, but someone whose presence helps others love that which is good and sharpens them. Like a dull knife in the drawer, we can look fine on the outside while losing our edge. But God in His grace is often sharpening us through faithful people around us. That's why, again, it's important not to isolate, like we talked about yesterday. It happens through honest conversations, through wise questions, and through friends who they love us enough to help us um, be sharp in our edge. Wherever you find yourself, God goes with you.